peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Glad you could find time to join us this afternoon. Thank you so much. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and a warm welcome to you. The show is Diaspora Dispatches, where we get to know the latest from the continent of Africa. And we start with Sudan, where protests are continuing in Sudan against Monday's military coup. Hundreds, sometimes thousands of people have continued to join demonstrations, both in the capital, in other cities, the media is reporting. Activists have called for huge protests on Saturday and have said they will continue to fight for their democracy despite the danger they face from the security forces. And shops, banks and other businesses are closed as part of the protest movement demanding a return to civilian rule. Officials are also staying away from work. 7 protesters have since been killed since the coup. Health Ministry officials told the AFP news agency there's mounting international pressure on the country's military leaders to relinquish power. And still staying with Sudan, and ambassadors from the UK, the European Union, Germany, France and UN have met Sudan's dispossessed Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok at his residence in Khartoum. The United Nations Integrated Transitional Assistance Mission in Sudan, UNITAM, tweeted about the meeting on Wednesday. It said that the envoys had found him in good health. The US Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke to his Sudanese counterpart to condemn the military takeover and the arrest of the civilian leaders. And then we go to Ethiopia, where there has been an intense fighting reported to be continuing around the cities of Desir and Kombolcha in Amara state between the Tigrayan rebels and the Ethiopian army with its allies. Desir is home to tens of thousands of internally displaced people who fled their homes after war expanded to Tigray's southern neighbor. Kombolcha, on the other hand, is an industrial hub, home to the area's main airport. Meanwhile, airstrikes have once again been reported in the Tigrayan capital, Mekelle. The government's communications office said the targets were part of Mesfin Engineering, an industrial plant that was also hit by airstrikes last week. Rebel forces have not responded to the claim about the targets, but senior figure Katacheo Breda tweeted confirming the air raids in the city, adding their air defense unit was engaging the enemy jets. A United Nations human rights expert has called for the removal of a 20-year-old Western sanctions against Zimbabwe, saying they've harmed jobs, health and the poor population. Alan Duna said a dialogue was the alternative way to achieve political reforms, a recommendation that echoes the African Union's stand. Zimbabwe says the government had hoped for the endorsement, but the opposition suggested it was determined and biased. The US and the European Union had said they won't remove sanctions until their demands for democratic reforms are met. And in Sudan, the World Bank, going back to Sudan, the World Bank has suspended its aid to Sudan after the military there staged a coup against the civilian government. Political leaders were arrested on Monday, sparking nationwide protest and international condemnation. The African Union has also suspended Sudan from the bloc over the unconstitutional seizure of power. The US has frozen $700 million in aid. Sudan's civilian and military leaders had been in fragile power-sharing agreement for the past 2 years. The sudden cut to aid is likely to have dire consequences for Sudan's battered economy at a time when it was just starting to get back on its feet. The World Bank and AU moves will put further pressure on the coup's leaders, General Abdel Fattah Burhan, to reinstate the civilian government. And we go to Nigeria, and President Muhammadu Buhari has said about 12 million children are scared of going to school in the country, where jihadists and heavily armed criminals have kidnapped hundreds of students for ransom. The first mass school abduction in Africa's most populous nation was in the northeast in 2014, when Boko Haram jihadists snatched 276 girls from Chibok, triggering triggering a global campaign called #BringBackOurGirls. Since then, attacks on schools have grown in number and spread across the northern part of the country. President Buhari was saying this while addressing a conference on Tuesday on safety in education in the capital, Abuja. Gunmen in northwest and central Nigeria have increasingly targeted schools, kidnapping more than 1,000 students since December. As a result, President Buhari has said there are more than 12 million children currently traumatized and afraid of going to school. Girls were particularly affected, he added. And then we go to the U.S., not the U.S., but some news from the U.S. and help it's giving to some African countries. The United States is sending more than 4.8 million coronavirus vaccine doses to 4 African nations, the White House told the Voice of America on Wednesday. White House officials said the 55-member African Union determined the allocations. Landlocked Chad, one of the world's poorest nations, will get 115,830 doses. Populous U.S. ally Egypt will receive 3,634,020 doses. West Coast oil producer Gabon is to get 101,790 doses. And the East African country, which is Kenya, will receive 990 doses. The donated Pfizer vaccine doses should all arrive in the countries by Friday or Saturday, White House officials said. The vaccine requires 2 shots for full immunity, and the American authorities have recommended that certain high-risk groups should receive booster shots of that vaccine after their initial course. We head over to South Sudan, and the conflicting forces in Tambura County, Western Equatorial State, have agreed to cease hostilities and withdraw from the area to allow peace to prevail. In June this year, fighting broke out between 2 armed groups in Tambura, leaving over 200 people dead and nearly 100,000 others displaced. The United Nations Commission on Human Rights in South Sudan in September described the deaths as massacres sponsored by SPLM-IO and SSPDF forces in Tambura. On Tuesday, James Nando, an SSPDF general and an alleged SPLA-IO-backed youth leader, Angelo Davido, agreed to cease hostilities during a rally held in Tambura town. In July, the governor of the Western Equatoria has accused 4 prominent politicians from the state of perpetuating the violence that left at least 8 civilians dead in Tambura County recently. And then we go to South Africa, and the country will deploy 10,000 soldiers to assist in security operations during the forthcoming municipal elections due to start next week. The South African Parliament on Wednesday noted that President Cyril Ramaphosa had authorized the military deployment to help the police ensure a safe and secure environment during the polls. South Africans will be turning out on Monday to elect their municipal councils and mayors. The elections are seen as a test to the popularity of the ruling ANC party following the jailing of former President Jacob Zuma over corruption charges. The military deployment will begin on Saturday and will last 5 days until 3rd of November. South Africa recently deployed 25,000 troops to help the police tackle the deadly riots and looting that followed Zuma's jailing in July. And that is the latest from the continent of Africa. Of course, those elections in South Africa we shall be monitoring, and we'll see how that will play out. And as I've said there earlier, of course, the popularity of ANC party continues to dwindle by the day. A lot of promises that the ANC made, I think, when South Africa first had its black president, former president and, global icon, Nelson Mandela, so much. And there was so much hope for the black South Africans that has never really materialized. Instead, the ANC has been accused of corruption. A lot of officials, top officials of the party, have been accused of corruption and all that. So the support that it had over the years from the majority of South Africans continue to dwindle. Not so much. It still has a bit of a stronghold, but I think with the recent developments, you can never really know how this will turn out. Maybe South Africans might, decide to vote, support EFF or other parties, looking at what happened to former President Jacob Zuma and the manner in which he was taken to jail and all that. So it could be just a protest vote against ANC, but we'll wait and see how that will pan out there. So they will be going to the elections on Monday to elect their municipal council leaders and also their mayors there. So you know how South African democracy works. It's proportional representation. You do not, well, they're doing the local elections, but even at the national level, they don't elect the president directly. So there's a way they do it through parliament, and the majority, the party with the majority in parliament, the leader of that party becomes president, and that will be President Cyril Ramaphosa, as he is the leader of the African National Congress, that is ANC. Okay, so now this statement by President Buhari, I don't know, I wish one day I'll just come here and read some news and it will be all good news about President Buhari. I think every time he comes out and speaks in public about certain issues that are of importance to the people of Nigeria, it's just troublesome. So now, President Buhari has said, as the president of the federal state of Nigeria, he has admitted that in Nigeria today, there are 12 million children who are scared of going to school in the country where jihadists and heavily armed criminals have kidnapped hundreds of them. So President Buhari has said the children now in Nigeria are scared of going to school. Sir, they wouldn't be scared if you were doing your job. This is, I don't know, the second or third time you're admitting to your failure as a head of state. Because as a head of state, your most core mandate is to ensure that the people of that country are safe. You cannot guarantee the children of Nigeria, leave alone the rest of Nigerians, safety when they go to school. You cannot assure the children of Nigeria that they can go to school in the morning and come back home safely, and they will be fine. And now you are standing in a public platform and you're saying that children in your country, President Buhari, are unable to go to school, 12 million of them, because of the insecurity that your administration has been unable to take care of, that your administration has refused, matter of fact, to address. So in essence, you're saying you have failed as a president, because if you cannot guarantee the protection of the lives of the people that you put you in that position as a leader, then you have failed them. You have failed them and you have failed the country. So in essence, in a good democracy, you wouldn't have a business being a head of state in that country. That's just how I feel. You can't tell us that the children in your country can't go to school because of insecurity. What do you expect the rest of Nigerians to say? Because you have the instruments of power. You are the commander-in-chief of the armed forces in Nigeria. You have the intelligence. You know, you are the president. You are in the position that should be able to do something to address that insecurity that is causing 12 million children. Think about it. 12 million children in Nigeria are unable to go to school. And you stand in a public forum with no shame at all. And you're telling the world, this is what is happening. 12 million children in my country are unable to go to school. And this is because they fear these criminal armed gangs. They fear to be kidnapped. And you add to that they're traumatized and afraid to go to school. I would be traumatized. If my president was handling things the way you're handling things, especially my security as a citizen, I will be traumatized. I will be afraid to even leave my house. And you've done zero to address that issue. And so for you to come out and make these public announcements about your failure, I don't know how you do that with a straight face, President Buhari. I don't know how you even think this is something that you should stand in a public forum and admit to, that I have failed to protect the children to guarantee the safety of the lives of the children in Nigeria and the people of Nigeria. And you say that with a straight face as the commander-in-chief of the federal state in Nigeria, without shame. I will be appalled. And I am appalled because at this point, you've admitted, that you have failed. Okay? So if this is how you're talking, so what is the rest of Nigerians supposed to, what are they supposed to say? If their own president is saying now 12 million children are unable to go to school because they're traumatized, they're currently traumatized, and on top of that, they are afraid. They are afraid that if they go to school, they will not be guaranteed their safety back home because of dangers of kidnappings and killings. And I was just watching a photo of in August where the kids who had been kidnapped from a certain school, very young as 4 years, 5 years. It's traumatizing for myself to even see that. So you can imagine the children who had to live through that ordeal. All right? The children who had to go through that. They're kids who in Nigeria, you'll never convince them to ever step in a classroom, back to a classroom again. And President Buhari has the audacity to stand in a public forum and say, you know what? More than 12 million children in Nigeria are unable to go to school and are currently traumatized because of the criminal activities and the kidnappings that are going on. If you were doing your job, this will not be happening. If you are addressing the issue of insecurity in Nigeria, President Buhari, this will not be happening. We'll have the children go to school. We'll have the children go to seek and chase their dreams in the hopes of having a better, future. Because education, that's what it does, And so you are denying these children an opportunity. You're denying you have refused to create a safe environment for the children of Nigeria to go to school and learn. And the reason why you are doing that is because you cannot do your job. You are unable to do your job. The level of incompetence in your security apparatus in Nigeria is just mind-blowing. It's like there's no intelligence in Nigeria. Even the easiest of things that you could collect. And then you have people who are in contact with these criminals, who have information about these criminals. Gumi, I'll be on his case. I think we'll be talking about him so much here. He has information. He's in contact with these people. And you're refusing, to do something about these individuals and see how can we address the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. So President Buhari, you should be ashamed of standing in a public forum and telling the world that 12 million children in Nigeria are currently traumatized and cannot go to school because of the issue of insecurity in Nigeria, because that falls squarely on your doorsteps. Nobody can address the issues of insecurity in a country other than the head of state, together with the instruments and the offices that are supposed to be addressing that. Okay? So you should be ashamed that this is happening. And these are not statements you're supposed to be making in public. And I don't know why Nigerians are not mad about this, okay? And you don't need to come and tell the world how incompetent you are, because this is what you're saying, and Nigerians are just comfortable with this. So this is unacceptable. We cannot have 12 million kids not go to school, President Buhari. That is unacceptable. Create an environment where the children will be safe. Create an environment where the people of Nigeria will be safe by doing something, by responding to the issues of insecurity, by addressing the plague that is banditry and kidnappings and all that. And then maybe you can come and tell us, this is how much we are doing, this is how much we've been able to do, this is the intelligence we got a while back, and this is how we were able to act on it. So every time you come, it's just we send our best wishes and condolences to the victims. That is tiring. And then on top of that, you're coming to tell us that 12 million children are unable to go to school and they're traumatized. That is a shame. And as a head of state, I don't know how you make such a statement with your head held high. You should be ashamed, and you should feel that you have failed the people of Nigeria, because that is what you have done, I think. That is what you have done. All right, so the World Bank has suspended funding for Sudan. And of course, after the military staged that coup we saw on Monday, and African Union also suspended. Yesterday we were having this conversation, and I was still not very sure, but apparently African Union also has suspended Sudan from the bloc, and because this coup is unconstitutional. And the U.S. also froze the funding it was going to give to Sudan. That I think happened on Monday or Tuesday thereabout, and it was supposed to give Sudan 700 million. So Sudan, okay, 700 million US dollars. So basically, Sudan right now is under pressure, and also they could be facing other sanctions that could be dire to the country. The country is reeling from years of bad economic situation. So it was just starting to get to its feet and just trying to do something and see how to better itself with this new regime. But this coup has really sent the gains that seems to have been made back again. So the World Bank has suspended the help, the funding that it was supposed to be giving, the aid that it was supposed to be giving to Sudan. And so the ramifications continue there. I don't know if the military will sustain this coup, because as much as they released Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok, it is not clear that he's back at the helm and in the position that he was at. Remember, the transitional committee that was formed to start organizing for an election and all of that, that was also suspended, and other things that had been put in place to ensure a smooth transition, that also the military removed that. And so as much as Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok was released, but a lot of things still remain the same, and whatever the military junta had said the other day still remains. And but I think they will cave in. I believe they have to cave in, because if you can't, look at what is happening in Afghanistan. The Taliban wanted their country. They've been left. They were given back their country. All right. And after they were given back their country, they don't even know how to run it. They don't have the funding. They don't have the personnel. They don't. So they realized, you know what, we actually need the rest of the world community, to help us, because we can't. And there's nothing here in Afghanistan that is enough for us to run a country. So they were left for themselves, and now they are unable to run the country. And they've been very careful in some of the things that they've been doing, because they can't be as radical as they used to be. They still are, and the rest of the world is telling them, especially the Western powers, we can't give you funding until we see the girls back in school. We can't give you the funding until we see the qualified personnel who are women back to their offices, back to their classrooms, back to the hospitals, doing their job. All right, and other things that you have to there to, of course, which the Taliban is against. So it is the same case with Sudan. If you want to flex your muscles and you can't take care of yourself, then that is a problem. If you're going to flex them all the way, but make sure that you don't need funding, you don't need help after that. So the generals are just realizing maybe that could have been a step on their part, or whatever message they wanted to send, they already sent, maybe to intimidate the civilian and the civilian rulers. Maybe things will come back to normal, but they're already facing very dire ramifications. And if these monies are being pulled out the way they're being pulled out, and the funding, then that will the aid, that will mean that the financial crisis in Sudan will continue. They already started some, there was already problems with the prices of bread. I don't know what bread means in the culture to the people of Sudan, because that is what started the protest against the former President Omar al-Bashir. Remember, the prices of bread went high, and also the prices of, I think, petroleum products and things like that. So, but bread was like the core of it, and bread also started being an issue a couple of weeks ago. The prices, it was unavailable, and the prices went up. So I'd like to understand the relation of bread and the culture, or the people of Sudan. I'd like to know that, because that has been a problem for a while now. James Bitoro, nice to see you this afternoon. You're saying the military will soon back down as the pressure from the international community mounts, because, they need the international community. The end of the day, these Arab League countries that are fueling what we see today in Sudan, I'm, I'm sure a few of them are involved. I could have told them, you know what, you need to take over that country and see what happens, because a lot of these countries and allies from the Arab world, they don't have democracy. And so that probably could threaten even a revolution in their own countries. So, and they strongly depend on their armies to lead these countries. So that could also be one other thing. But as well, they need the rest of the world to survive. We are a very small village when you think about it. And so Sudan will have to cave and will have to do right, and perhaps will have to allow the rest of the civilian, the civilians to do what they need to do. And as we speak, there's a huge protest that is being planned for Saturday. I love the tenacity of the people of Sudan. If there are people who can keep pushing and pushing, Sudanese, and the Algerians, because they're also continuing with the revolution. I don't know if they stopped the weekly protest in Algiers, but also Sudan, or the people of Sudan, they have tasted a bit of democracy, and they're saying, we cannot leave this. We will push this until we have the full gains, and we have, we enjoy, democracy in all its essence. And so they will continue pushing, and they've organized for a bigger protest like this coming Saturday. And I don't know if that will be met with the kind of force that we've been seeing, because so far about 7 people have since died since this coup happened on Monday. Of course, Al-Fatah al-Burhan, the head of the military in the country, has said that that was not a military coup. They're just trying to bring things to order, because there was a lot of political bickering on the other side, and so they had to make sure that the country does not veer towards a path that might take it off the course of whatever it is that the country had agreed to do moving forward after the protest that removed Omar al-Bashir from power. So they're saying, no, we did not have a coup. And for the Prime Minister and his wife, I had them as my guests in my house for just a couple of hours, and then we've released them. He's back to his place, but we all know it was a coup. I think they did it, and then they realized, that probably wasn't a very wise move on their part. And so they're really trying to do damage control. But already, I think the world will be looking at them differently, especially those allies that they've been working to see and to work with now, the new allies that they've been forming as a country. I think now, they'll be looked at with a lot of cautious optimism of a possible, democratic state later on after those elections are held. So we'll see how that will work out there for Sudan. So I don't know. Well, they will announce that Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok is back as the Prime Minister and the leader of the country, so that they're let back again to the African Union. I was telling you here the other day that the other time they were removed in 2019, Egypt fought so hard for them not to be removed, and Egypt fought so hard for them to be brought back. So I don't know who is fighting for them this time, but it will be interesting to see. I'm sure right now there are a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes, but in due time, I'm sure we'll get the details of it. Okay, so they did beat more than they could chew. I absolutely believe that. They realized, this is just a lot. And AU and the World Bank, there's all severed ties. Chimara, Emeka, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time this afternoon. And the rest of you, thank you so much. I have to go now. And I'll see you again here tomorrow. We will have a conference, and we'll be looking at globalization in the context of how Africa fits in this globalization. So hopefully we will have you tomorrow, most part of the day, God willing. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Diaspora Dispatches. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Bye-bye for now.
peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.